welcome back to my channel. My name's Selena if you're new, and this is Selena's Table in our little Aussie homestead. I am going to be making something super simple today. I'm making sausage rolls, but I'm going to do 4 different flavours, and they're all sort of different flavours, okay? So different in the way that they're not, I've never seen them as sausage rolls before. One of them is going to be like a beef Wellington style sausage roll, and this would be perfect for someone who wanted to make beef Wellington but maybe couldn't afford the big piece of meat that is traditionally in a beef Wellington, because sausage rolls are made with mince. I'm not using sausage mince in any capacity today. I'm using lean beef mince, and I'm also using chicken breast that's been minced up. So if you wanted to make these and you wanted to use sausage roll, like sausage mince, you could. It's just going to be fattier, okay? So the first thing I want to do for my beef Wellington sausage roll is I want to get my mushrooms cooked down. So what I need to do is chop up some mushrooms. I'm going to put some onion in there with it. So I've got an onion. I've got a lot of ingredients out already for all of my sausage rolls. We're going to need puff pastry. We're going to need onions, garlic, eggs, breadcrumbs for each of my flavours today. They will all have onion of some kind in them. I think I'm putting garlic in all of them. So a lot of ingredients will be the same, but not everything, okay? I'm also only making 500 gram amounts of each mixture, so that shouldn't be too many of each one, but by all means, if this is something you're wanting to make at home, these recipes can be doubled, tripled, and so forth. Normally when I make sausage rolls, I do at least 1 kilo of meat, but because I'm doing 4 flavours, that is going to end up being 2 kilos of meat, and that will be more than enough. I've got one sort of small onion here that I've just diced. I'm going to put that in my cast iron little pan here. I want to add some garlic to that. So I'm going to add just 1 clove of garlic chopped up. The other thing is, with today's recipes, I was looking for something. So these will fit like a multiple of uses, if that makes sense. So these will work for school lunches, work lunches, general weekend lunches. Perfect for appetizers or finger food if you've got some kind of party going on where you need an affordable way to give people something that tastes good but is also pretty cheap to make. Because in this economy that we're living in right now, if we can save money somehow, we need to. So I'm making these myself instead of buying them, plus I know everything that's in them. And I don't think you'll find most of these flavours available readily in the shop. I've got 1 clove of garlic, 1 small onion. Tomorrow is grocery day for me, so I'm using, that's the other thing, I'm using what I've got, what I still had available. So I've got some mushrooms here that are almost ready to finish their life, but they don't need to be wasted, they're still fine. I'm just going to chop these up. Traditionally, a beef Wellington has a mushroom paste in it, which is called a duxelle, and it's basically really finely diced mushroom cooked down in butter. But today I'm not going to do my mushrooms quite as fine as like a traditional beef Wellington would have them. I just want them small, but I'm not going to go quite to the paste level. And I'm going to put my mushrooms around the outside of the meat component of the beef Wellington sausage roll. I thought about it. I was considering putting the mushrooms through the meat mix, but I decided not to. I feel like I might lose them if I do it that way. So normally, if you were making a real beef Wellington, you would chop these super fine, like you'd keep going until they were really small. I don't want to do that. I want the mushrooms to be a little bit more visible. All right, so sort of that much amount. Straight in here. When you add liquid to mushrooms, when you're cooking mushrooms, you're going to find that they really drink up your liquid. So just keep that in mind as well. I'm going to put a drizzle of olive oil. We're looking at maybe a couple of teaspoons. I don't want too much in there. And I'm just going to put this on really low on my stove. I'm going to keep an eye on it. I'll mix it, and we will end up making our beef Wellington sausage roll probably last, but I wanted that to get happening. I wanted it to start breaking itself down, and I didn't want it to be hot when I go to actually make that variety. All right, so as I said, I'm going to make 4 flavors. 1 will be a beef Wellington style sausage roll, 2 will be chicken sausage rolls, and then the fourth one will be another beef sausage roll. So I'm going to probably do my 2 chicken ones first. Get them cooked so that my mushrooms have had time to cook, had time to cool before I go and make my 2 beef varieties. So I'm going to make these individually, one at a time, purely to show you what's in each one. If I was making this without the camera rolling, I would do all of these at once by having 4 bowls set up, and I would chop all my ingredients for each one at a time. So like all the onions that I needed, all the garlic, things like that. Just because it's more efficient, and I'd be able to get all of my sausage rolls sort of ready to go at once. So these are going to make great finger food. As I said, they're perfect for lunches. They're going to actually save me on the nights that I don't want to cook and we want something a bit lighter than like one of the freezer meals. So I am going to do freezer meals again soon because my freezer is almost out. I think I've only got about 4 left in there. I'm not doing that one today, mainly because it's grocery day tomorrow. We're running short of a lot of things. So these have had to be using up things we already have, but also not too ingredient complex, if that makes sense. So not too many ingredients going in. So this one that I'm making, my first chicken one, I'm going in a bowl basically with all of my filling, and that is a red onion. If you've got large onions, just use half an onion. And it's making me cry. I can hear my mushrooms starting to sizzle in the background. I'm just going to give it a little shake. All right, no, my heart's not broken. I'm crying because my onion is strong. So I'm going in with a garlic clove in this one. Did I say it's a Mediterranean style chicken sausage roll? And that was what I was getting at. These will make a really great light dinner option for nights when we want something easy to just heat up either in the microwave, in the air fryer, or even back in the oven if we need to. They are all freezable. We can either freeze them once we've made them before we cook them, or in my case today, I'm going to cook everything, and then if I want to freeze them, I'll individually bag them up and pop them in the freezer with a label. So if we want to have these for an easy dinner one night, we will have just like a little salad on the side of each one. And a good salad to go with this little Mediterranean style sausage roll would be obviously a Greek salad. What I've got here is a small bunch, I ran out into the garden, of mint and a little bit of oregano. Okay, so I'm going to chop that up. You could use dried herbs as well, or even like some kind of Greek blend, some dried oregano, some dried mint, dried parsley even would be nice. Right, I want just a teaspoon of smoked paprika. Now, it might make the chicken slightly coloured, but it's going to be fine. I also want the zest of 1 lemon. A nice sauce to serve with this little Greek sausage roll would be tzatziki, which is a yogurt sauce that has lemon and garlic, some cucumber in it. That would be really nice to have alongside this, especially if you were serving it as like an appetiser. And a nice way to serve it as an appetiser would be to cut the sausage rolls into little bite-sized pieces and even stick a little skewer or a toothpick through them. Would make for a really nice appetiser. So in here, there's everything so far. I'm just going to add some breadcrumbs and an egg, and then our chicken mince. And I just gave my mushrooms a little stir because they are cooking beautifully and gently behind me. I have got my oven preheated. It's heated at about the 180 degrees Celsius, fan forced, and that's the temperature I'll be cooking at as well. The other thing you'll need is puff pastry. You can use whatever puff pastry you like. This is just a puff pastry we bought. Oh, and I also need some feta. So I'm using little bits of leftover feta. Here, I've probably got about 100 grams all up of feta. I'm going to crack an egg here. Pirate egg. I always crack my eggs separately in case there's a problem. I don't want to waste all of my ingredients. All right, and recently I've been asked, thank you to everyone who's been commenting on my recent videos. And I was asked recently a few times, what are these little terracotta pots? I picked them up at an op shop, but what they are is a recycled dip container. So there's a dip in Australia you can buy, and I'm not even 100% sure of the brand because I don't buy it, but I do like these little terracotta pots. So have a look in an op shop for some of those little dip pots, or if you buy the dips, they're sold in Coles and Woolworths, IGAs. They have like a cream cheese style dip in them. Yeah, just recycle your little terracotta pots. So 1 egg, and I'm going in with about half a cup of breadcrumbs. My breadcrumbs are homemade. They're a little bit chunkier than normal. If you wanted to use commercial breadcrumbs, I would choose probably panko over regular just because they're a little bit nicer. A little bit of salt and pepper. There is salt in the feta, so more pepper, bit of a pinch of salt there. Get that all good mix. If you find your mixture's a little dry, you can add a little bit of milk, like a couple of splashes of milk as well. I have here a kilo packet of chicken mince, and I'm only going to use half of it because I want the other half for my other chicken sausage roll. So it's going in there, and I'll set that aside. And when it comes to making sausage rolls, I feel like you really do need to just get your hands in there. So with clean hands, give everything a good massage. My chicken mince is still a little frozen, so I'm just going to make sure I break that up. And I will say every one of these would also make fantastic meatballs. If you're looking for some meatball flavours that are a little different to the standard just Italian style or barbecue style, maybe try making up these mixes and using them as meatballs, because they would also be delicious. And that's actually where I got the flavour inspiration to make sausage rolls from, was that I often make these into meatballs, some of these different ones. So, and I thought, why not make them into sausage rolls? The other thing you will need for each of these sausage rolls is an egg wash to brush on the pastry. So I'm making 1 egg wash, or I'm going to use 1 egg and make it work for all of my sausage rolls today. Have a couple of lined trays here. Have a couple of lined trays They just have some baking paper, also known as parchment paper, on them. And then I just have some commercial pastry here, puff pastry. You could definitely use homemade puff pastry. Because I don't have the time to be making puff pastry, I'm using commercial puff pastry. I like to keep puff pastry in my freezer because quite often you can make a meal out of a lot of different things. Shortcomings, I guess would be one word. Things that you might not have enough to stretch to multiple meals or something. You can often incorporate them into puff pastry in some way and they turn into, you know, something you can eat. So with sausage rolls, if you haven't made them before, we are cutting them in half. Sometimes I'll pipe my mixture on to my pastry, just because it gives you a better sausage shape, but not always. Sometimes I'll spoon it on or even just use my hands. So I'm just gonna run a strip of egg along the seam there, and then I'm just going to roughly eyeball out enough mix. I'm rolling up the side without egg on it first, and I usually use the paper or the plastic to help me keep it clean. I may have put a bit much in this one as well. Go, and then, I mean, you can cut these now, and if I was doing appetizer style, I would cut them nice and small. Because I'm going to do lunch size, I'm cutting them in 3, okay? Just like that, and I'll just move them apart just slightly, just so they're not touching. So 500 grams of mixture or meat into the mixture should give you about 2 sheets of puff pastry worth of sausage rolls. So for my other chicken spring roll, I'm going to make sort of a Thai style flavoured chicken spring roll. Not spring roll, sorry, sausage roll. I keep saying spring roll. Sausage roll. I've washed my bowl, I've washed my knife. In my bowl, I've got about a tablespoon of sweet chili sauce. If my family were big fans of chili, I would add some fresh chili as well, but they're not. I've got 1/4 cup of desiccated coconut. That's not sweetened in any way. We don't really have sweetened coconut here. I've got some ginger. I'm just going to grate some of that. About a teaspoon of ginger. All right. In there, I've got 2 garlic cloves. I've got 2 garlic cloves, and I'm just going to grate those in there as well. And I'm using 2 because they're a little small. If I had some nice big garlic cloves, I'd just use 1. But I do want this to be really flavourful. Okay. To that, I've got a little bunch of coriander here that I picked this morning. All right, I've got a couple of green spring onion tops. Just 3 little sprigs there. All right, I've got 2 lemongrass that I just picked, and I like to give them a bit of a press down to bash them to make them release some flavour. I will chop this pretty fine. Okay, I've got some kaffir lime leaves, three in a tiny piece. So my friend grows kaffir limes. I don't have a kaffir lime tree, and I often, when I go and visit her, will just take some of her lime leaves, which she's willing to give me, of course. And all I do is keep them in a zip bag in my freezer, and they are always perfectly good to use once I do that. So I don't dry them, I don't do anything else with them. They just live in my freezer in their zip bag, and I just take them out whenever I want to use them. And you can probably hear the birds outside having a good old time. So sorry about that. That's everything except my onion. So 1 small onion as well going in. Again, 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs and 1 egg. My other 1/2 kilo of chicken mince. And again, we're just going in, breaking up that little bit of frozen in the middle, and give everything a good mix. This one would be really nice if I want to serve this with a salad of some kind, especially if it's going to be like a light dinner. This one would be really nice with a bit of Asian coleslaw and even just a bit more sweet chili sauce, or a coconut lime sort of dressing would be nice. I forgot the salt and pepper. So another good hit of salt and pepper in there. Give that a good mix. So exactly the same as the other sausage rolls. I'm just going to cut a piece of puff pastry in half. Brush each side with a bit of my egg. And again, I'm just going to roll these up and cut them into the size that I want to cut them. Give these a brush with egg as well. I am going to put some black sesame seeds on these, even though they don't have any sesame flavours in there. I just thought it would be nice to use some black sesame seeds. My Mediterranean sausage rolls are done and out of the oven, and just in time for my Thai style chicken sausage rolls to go in. These sausage rolls smell so delicious. It's actually going to be really hard to choose which one of these you want to eat when it comes time to eat them. Yeah, so I'm a little distracted by the incredible aroma going on in my kitchen, but I'm going to focus and move on to the next flavour. So, clean bowl this time. I've washed my knife. This one is going to be beef sausage rolls. I'm going to put some thyme in there, get it kind of herby, quite herby. And I want to use some spiced pumpkin chutney. I made this last year. I don't think I've done a video on my chutneys yet. So let me know if you want to see how to make chutney. Yeah, and if this is something you want to make that you haven't got some homemade yummy pumpkin chutney, there's lots of delicious brands out there that make incredible chutneys. I did toss up whether I would use my spiced pumpkin or my balsamic balsamic caramelized onion and beetroot chutney. So that was my two options I had of the chutneys I had left. I do believe I showed you how to make that in one of my beetroot videos. So either one would work well. I chose the pumpkin one just because I think it'll be a little spicier, different sort of flavour, maybe even a little Moroccan feeling to this one. And I think this would work really well with lamb mince as well. So I've got one small onion going in here. Again, 2 small cloves of garlic or 1 decent clove of garlic. But if you don't like garlic and you want to make this, you don't even have to add it. That's the beauty of making your own food, is if you like something, you can add more of it. If you don't like something, in most cases, you know, you can leave these things out. I'm also going to put some seeded mustard in this one. Just a little bit, just for some added flavour. And I was also tossing up, do I put my chutney in this or do I put it with this? So if I was going to serve these sausage rolls, I would make a rocket and pear style salad to go with them. I would serve more chutney on the side of this one as like a sauce, if that makes it, or like a dipping sauce. So my thyme, I've got some lemon thyme and I've got some regular thyme, just because they were the two that I have growing. And I'm not going to add too much, not as much as I've got here. But I do want to get both types. So my lemon thyme has a bigger leaf on it. My regular thyme is, you know, the regular size. So about, I don't know, a teaspoon or so of fresh thyme. Thyme's quite strong. I want it to enhance my sausage roll, not overpower it, not take away from the fact that we've got chutney in here. We're going to put some cheddar cheese in here. You could use virtually any chutney. A chutney that works well with meat and a chutney that works well with cheese is going to work well in this. I've got a teaspoon, a nice heaped teaspoon of seeded mustard or whole grain mustard. Don't forget we need salt, we need pepper. I'm going to put about half a cup of grated cheddar cheese, maybe a bit more, a little more, a heaped half cup of grated cheddar cheese, half a cup of breadcrumbs, 1 egg, little angry face. My kids have been drawing faces on my eggs as they've been collecting them. So it's quite funny to see the different pictures they're coming up with. All right, and in this we're also going to have some of our chutney. So what I'm going to do is just add a heaped tablespoon of my chutney to the mixture, but I'm going to spread some on the pastry as well. So it will have quite a bit more flavour than just that. I want half a kilo of lean beef mince. And this particular chutney was pumpkin, there was caramelised onions in it, there's currants in it, there's different spices in there. It's sweet, it's delicious, it goes well with chicken, it goes well with eggs. There's not many things it doesn't go well with. It's delicious on quiche. You could also make this one using chicken mince, it would work. Just checking they look good. Give everything a good mix together as always. Oh, I did want to add some spring onions as well to this one. So I've got a couple more green onion tops here, 3 more. So I'm going to dice them up and pop them in as well. I just forgot to do that. All right. that's our beef cheese and chutney mixture ready for its pastry. Oh, before we put the sausage roll mix in, lucky I just remembered, I want to put about a tablespoon into each piece I've cut here. You're going to need about half a cup to a cup of chutney all up, I think. Just want to spread this out. I want the chutney to sort of sit on top of the meat. Our meat mixture on top. All right, beef cheese and chutney. I'm going to put just a tiny bit of cheese on top of these ones. All right, these smell incredible. There we go, all cooked out, they're hot. Pop them there. Let's get these into the oven. Okay, so the last flavour of sausage roll I'm going to make today will be my beef Wellington style sausage roll. Now we did put the onion and the garlic already in with our mushrooms. So in our bowl, I've got a little bit of parsley, just sort of a handful here. I'm just going to get that a bit smaller. I've got some rosemary. I probably want half that sprig. There's a fair bit there. And I've just got a tiny little piece of thyme, okay? And I'm just going to pop that in as well. Give that a good chop. Straight into our bowl. I'm going to put about a teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce. Just, yep, that much. I want to put in my half cup of breadcrumbs, my egg. We've got a sleeping lady this time. Not sure if you can see what I'm showing you, but there we go. An egg. I will add a teaspoon of my seeded mustard here as well. I'm going to add what's left of my jar because there's not much there. And I will be using Dijon mustard as well on my pastry. So just a teaspoon in here. Salt. Pepper. Half a kilo of beef mince. Just like all the others, give it a good mix. You could also put some dried mushroom or even dried mushroom salt into this, and it would give it that extra little mushroom kick if you wanted to. I've only got dried mushrooms, I haven't got any powdered at the moment, so I wasn't going to do that today. We got some nice colour on our mushrooms that we were cooking, so I'm pretty happy that that should be enough of that flavour going on. All right, and again, I've cut my pastry. Just give it seam a little brush there. And then we want a little bit of Dijon mustard. I'm not going to need much, just like a little, maybe half a teaspoon per side here. It's literally just going to be a thin smear like that. Okay, now I want to distribute my mushroom, onion, garlic mixture evenly And if I'd had some more mushrooms, I would have chopped a few more than I had. I had about a cup. If you want it to be really mushroomy, or if you want to add some to the mixture and you're making this, do a little bit more if you can. And then again, let's just get our mixture on top of that, our beef. Those ones are looking and smelling delicious as well. Okay, just the same as before. And if I was going to serve this one as like a light dinner, I would have some like horseradish cream or even some more mustard to serve with it. If I wanted to put in a little more effort than that, some red wine jus would be nice. And just a salad, again on the side, maybe some rocket. Could do some crispy potatoes. And I'm just going to sprinkle a tiny bit of dried herbs on top of this one, just so that it has something different looking about it. The ones in the oven should be just about ready to come out. Okay. They need just a couple more minutes and then we'll pop these ones in. But there you go. That's what my little mini beef Wellington sausage rolls look like. All right, so beef, cheese, and chutney are out. These smell so good. You can smell the chutney, which is fantastic. It means you'll definitely be able to taste the chutney. Yeah, so I'm gonna let those cool down. I've just put my beef Wellington style sausage rolls in the oven. In 20 minutes, they will all be done. I will cut them open and show you what they look like on the inside. All right, our beef Wellington sausage rolls are done. I've just pulled them out. I'm going to get them on my cooling rack. So here we have today's fun day in the kitchen, making sausage rolls. And there are all of our different ones, all cooked. All right, there are our delicious sausage rolls. Thank you so much for spending time with me in my kitchen today. I do hope you enjoyed this video, and if you're looking for some yummy new sausage roll flavors, give these ones a try. As always, I will have the ingredients for each of these in the bottom of my description box down below. If you haven't already subscribed, don't forget to consider subscribing to my channel. I do try to put a video out every week, so if you subscribe and you hit that little bell that's down the bottom, it should notify you every time I do release a new video. Also, if you're not following me on Instagram yet, I am on Instagram. I will make sure that is linked in this video somewhere along the bottom. And also for anyone who wants to follow me on there. So thanks so much. Have a fantastic week. I am going to package these up, give them a label, and everyone in my family is going to enjoy their own unique flavored sausage roll when we choose to have sausage rolls. So have a great week. I'll catch you next time. Bye.